5 seconds to go. Start. The temporary ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas conflict, or cessation of hostilities as Israel calls it, is an important stage in the war, but only in terms of rescuing hostages and increasing humanitarian aid to Gaza. Of course, these are extremely important. However, one should not be very optimistic about a permanent ceasefire or a new peace process. While this agreement marks important progress, we will not rest easy as long as Hamas continues to hold hostages in Gaza, US Secretary of State Blinken said yesterday. It is conceivable that the parties to the agreement will blame each other for this temporary ceasefire, which Hamas was forced to accept under intense pressure from Qatar and Egypt, and Netanyahu from the US. In this case, the fighting in Gaza and the occupied territories will intensify in future, and Netanyahu's political future will be shaped by this war. In fact, recall that in the first days of the war, Blinken had mentioned a ceasefire in a post on the social media platform X. However, under pressure from Israel, he had to delete this message. That even today we are using words like ceasefire and pause means that the world is still struggling to name this process. Netanyahu's acceptance of this agreement is significant for his own personal politics. Israeli democracy was at a serious crossroads even before the Hamas attack. That Netanyahu and other right wing Israeli extremists emphasized that Israel is a Jewish state rather than a democratic state exemplified this. They argued that non Jews had no right to live in Israel, contrary to the basic perspective of the Oslo First and Oslo Second agreements. For Netanyahu, the temporary ceasefire means being forced to establish a relationship with the Palestinians and, more importantly, with Hamas. Therefore, this break in the war will be a serious morale booster for Hamas from that perspective. What is important for Hamas is not the smooth implementation of the ceasefire but the establishment of a relationship with Israel. Of course, this will be an opportunity for the Palestinian group to regain strength. Let us not forget that Hamas is an organization on the terror list in the West. In this respect, an interlocutor relationship is being established with a terrorist organization. There may be optimism on the part of mediators like Qatar, Jordan, and Egypt about the implementation of this 4-day ceasefire. But unfortunately, both Israel and Hamas do not have a very good track record in this regard. One can only hope that this break will pave the way for a lasting ceasefire that will change the course of the war and perhaps start a new process of resolving the Palestinian conflict. A process that will not only raise our hopes for a two state solution but will also be the end of Netanyahu's political life. This would undoubtedly mean the triumph of democracy in Israel. Of course, final peace will not come easily. After the Hamas offensive and the experience of the Gaza war, the Palestinian Authority led by Mahmoud Abbas will be more accepted by the West, especially the US, and this may even lead to a compromise in the UN Security Council. However, Israel has not been abiding by UNSC resolutions, and this will continue as long as Netanyahu remains in office. Meanwhile, Both the West and the Islamic and Arab countries have realized that the continued presence of Hamas in Gaza and Netanyahu in Israel is the biggest obstacle to a lasting ceasefire. Therefore, a lasting ceasefire cannot be achieved with the current actors. Most likely, we may have a situation in which the Hamas leadership will leave Gaza and go to another country. But that would only be an important step towards a permanent ceasefire. Then we go back to discussing a one state, two state, or three state solution. It is doubtful there can be a one state solution with equal citizenship in all the Palestinian territories but under the flag of Israel. The main reason is that Israel is not ready for that yet. Plus, it is an option that the Palestinians would reject in advance. A trilateral solution, that is returning Gaza to Egypt, to which it belongs, and the West Bank to Jordan, to which it belongs, also seems unlikely. Then we are left with the only option we have had since 1967, the two-state solution, which we know is a dead end. Hence, unfortunately, the current developments do not inspire confidence. But at the same time, we are also witnessing that every development on the 100-year-old Palestinian issue creates a great deal of excitement all over the world. Almost everyone wants this problem to be solved. Perhaps we can take heart in the fact that the Western public opinion is now aware of this problem. Stop.